Hi guys, how you all doing? You okay?
Yeah, good.
Hello.
How are you?
You go- I'm good. Well, I was just having like a me hay favorite before as the countdown was coming down. It was like 30 seconds, and my eyes were going like this. I was thinking, oh God, I'm gonna look like I've just been crying coming onto a string. No, all good. Actually, is this the first Make Lemonade live stream? It is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it is. So welcome
It
everyone to Make
is.
Lemonade's first live stream. I've been wanting
Exciting.
to do
Very
that.
exciting.
It looks awesome though, doesn't it? New website.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really, really good. Really exciting launch.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I think definitely like when I had my first interview with Mark and Adam, I definitely think the name was even on the agenda then. Like I think Mark might have even asked like, "What do you think of the name?" You know, like the first interview and that type of thing. So I'm glad it's changed. I think it's for the best. And yeah, like I say, the website looks pretty awesome. So yeah. But how are you? So anyway, have you been busy? What you been up to?
Yeah, I've been busy to be fair. Yeah, just lots of stuff going on work wise. And I'm going on a hen this weekend for one of my best friends. So after work I've been stressing, trying to get all the decorations sorted, everything sorted, but I'm getting there now. So yeah, it'll be worth it. So
It'll
yeah.
be
What about you
expensive
guys?
over there, man, Lois, for mobs.
I know, I know. I've not done anything all month just so I can go out and enjoy myself. So I'm going to, and I'm going to have multiple glasses of champagne.
You
So
know, is it got to
yeah,
be nice weather?
yes, I think yeah, it's really warm. I think it's like nearly 30 degrees, so be lovely.
Very
Seeing that.
Yeah,
jealous.
be nice.
We're up here, me and Jack was up here in the northeast, and it's 17 here today, and that is tropical for us.
Ooh,
That
Yeah.
is actually,
nice. Yeah, it's lovely here. It's really nice here too. And we're
I
having some
look.
nice weather actually at the moment, which is really nice.
I know I've got to put. I did. I had a proper t-shirt tan down here. It was only about 12 degrees, and I got it, but never mind. Jack, what you been up to?
Just full of busy as usual. Just got loads of stuff on. Loads of good links landed this week. A couple of Forbes
Mm,
links. So yeah, it's going good. Just really busy, but yeah, getting some good
mm.
results for clients.
Yeah, there's been some big links land, hasn't there? I know it's been a bit of a weird month for digital PR, not just for us, for like all kind of digital PR. Well, I think probably because there's been that many bank holidays, journalists are just taking those
Mm,
extra days or like going on holiday like you are, Lois, like taking advantage of that extra
yeah,
day really. So it's been weird. I think
yeah.
that we've got a lot out of offices than potentially usually would, and probably ties in quite nicely to this kind of discussion that we're having about actually hang on. Oh yeah, they've put the wrong. I put the wrong title on, so forget that title because that's the title. I knocked this up this morning, so apologies for that. This is journalist relationships, a thing of the past. So, but I mean, it does kind of tie in the top one anyway about we can use data to create stories that journalists love. So it all does tie in together. But I think one thing we have seen with journalists kind of being on holiday a lot more is other people are kind of picking up the baton and kind of running with their stories, and they're reaching out saying, look, I need an expert because I've been left from this person who's dipped off to Marbella on a hen do and left us with this and kind of run out. So yeah, so that's what we're going over today, folks. As usual, ask as many questions as you want. This is really, really topical. And when we thought about doing this kind of live stream, we didn't plan it the massive uproar in the community the day before. Um, a big agency down south had some horrible feedback from a journalist, just totally unnecessary. Like I think constructive feedback's still super important from journalists when we pitch, if they say, look, that isn't right, that isn't good, this is how you should do it, and you'll have better chance. That's brilliant feedback, like massively welcome that. But literally one journalist just replied F you to a really good pitch and a really good agency, and then a little bit uproar about it. But it kind of ties into some of the things we talk about through this. It's only a small one, but it definitely should help when you're building those links. I think digital PR is born from PR and link building coming together. So it's effectively using PR tactics to build links. But PR tactics historically has been wine and dining journalists and kind of sweeten them up a little bit so that they give you some coverage where that isn't really the case anymore. We'll talk about it as we go, and then yeah, Lewis has got some awesome teardowns as usual at the end. But But feel free to ask any questions as you go, and yeah, like and subscribe because there's going to be plenty more Make Lemonade live streams coming up. It feels weird seeing it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like because it's been like such a secret for so long, and now we can actually like say it. But yeah, I'm like, oh, can we say it yet? But yeah, make lemonade.
Right. So without further ado, we will crack on. So historically, there were lots more journalists per PR. So there wasn't many PRs about. It was a pretty new thing, especially digital PR. And journalists, there was more offline print publications, there was more little magazines and all that type of thing. So basically what I'm trying to say is journalists had a lot more time and resource to write their own stories. So they didn't really need us as much as they potentially do now. Um, so kind of buttering them up a little bit it made more sense historically as opposed to now. But times are changing. This was a little clip I'd pulled. Newspaper journalists had decreased from 43,000 to 33,000, so that's a 10K drop. That was over in the US, but it's the same here in the UK. I mean, some of the old contacts, unfortunately, have been let go from the likes over the last few months. We've had Vice, BuzzFeed went. We've had what else? We had Jack Business Insider, load of layoffs.
Loads of the Reach ones did as well when they had that massive merge.
Who?
Reach when they
Oh
did.
yeah, Reach.
Through
Yeah.
COVID, really, COVID just absolutely ruined it for all of them, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and it's becoming it's really sad actually. There's some awesome publications and journalists that unfortunately on the lookout for new jobs. We're seeing a massive increase in freelance journalists trying to get commissioned because they've just unfortunately been let go from some of these major publications that were brilliant as well. Vice and BuzzFeed and all that type of thing, and Business Insider. That Business Insider is still going, but there has been layoffs. But yeah, times are changing. And so is the way that we're connecting with each other. I have been out for coffee with journalists before. I have invited them to events. I have gifted them products to review and post online. I've done all that, and now I've noticed a massive shift in the way that we connect with each other. So these were just a few instances that I pulled, but you'll have heard me mention it on live streams multiple times now that social media is the way forward. Journalists just want instant reaction. Time's tight for them. They're probably doing two people's jobs now because the mate's unfortunately being let go. They don't have enough hours in the day to go through all of the emails that they've got. They don't have enough hours in the day to create the amount of stories that they need to push, all that type of thing. And that's really where PRs like us and link builders can get in there. And you'll see like Nia, who works for the Daily Mirror, she just WhatsApps us now on the go. She's probably got a phone in here, she's got a phone down here, and she's got a laptop, and it's just to try and get some quick reaction. So the way we connect and communicate with each other as journalists and PRs has massively shifted over the last year. Would you see a change in that as well, Joe?
100%. Like when I first started, it was like just coming to the end of even ringing people. And now you wouldn't even dare pick up the phone. Now I don't think any journalist would want you to even speak to them. If you try to ring a journalist now, they would just not pick up at all. They would think that it's a bad thing. So definitely Twitter has been massive for us, and obviously email. You can't not email, but Twitter for the quick replies, because everyone's got it on their phone. It's like they get notifications instantly, and they can just see straight away that they've got a DM or a like or a follow or anything. Just interacting with all their tweets, not just messaging them as well. It's like a massive thing that I've started doing.
Yeah, definitely. And I've built most of my links using Twitter. Like I'm waiting on Yahoo to send some questions over for one of our sleep experts today. It's actually from one of those tweets that happened there. Yeah, it's actually one of them. It's not a journalist here or it's someone else, but it's quick, it's reactive, and that is still relationship building. I think it's a bit of a grey area that the people historically, especially all the kind of fashion PRs, think relationship building you have to wine and dine them, but you don't. Relationship building is just offering something that's going to make their job a lot easier. That's the be all and end all. If we're helping them, they're producing their great stories that they always do, and we're getting something out of it and getting properly credited, then it's a win-win, and they're going to remember that. So yeah, definitely the way we connect with each other is changing. It's a good point about phones, that isn't it? Because we used to get, multiple calls a day off journalists, wanting to chat through things, and you'd be on the phone an hour. And I still do have calls. Like I've had a call with Nia, and I have a call with Amy from Women at Home quite a lot. But it's more just to check in to say, right, this is what the journalist's working on over the next month or next couple of weeks. These are the stories I think we've got experts that I could then go away, do our bit, and it saved Amy or Nia 4 hours of work of having to do the one thing. And it's a lifesaver for them because it frees up some of their time. And yeah, it just works both ways.
Yeah, definitely. Rather than ringing up just for a chat and see how the wife and kids are doing.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what it used to be like, didn't it? It was a lot more kind of, in depth. And then you would also have a lot more advertorial calls where journalists would be ringing up saying, "Oh, actually, I really like that story, Jake, but it's probably a bit advertorial. Can you pay us £2,000 to post?" And it's like, no. Well, you don't even get them anymore. Journalists are so busy they can't even pick up the phone and ask, or the content advertising team can't even pick up the phone and ask for that anymore. So yeah, definitely, it's ever changing, and this is the way it's going to be. So I guess I've put a couple of slides in on how to pitch an idea and how not to pitch an idea. Jacko, I'll do how to pitch and you can do how, because I know you've got some good pointers on that. How to pitch an idea. One, do your research. Relationship building for me, half the battle is making sure you're pitching the right people that write about the right topic. You know, crushing a relationship is pitching a tech journalist a food story. That's how to ruin a relationship now. It's not because you didn't invite them to your big corporate event with £2,000 goodie bags. It's not giving them what they want. Yeah, I read actually it was Bex, who's a really good contact at the Express that we've got. She said that journalists get 2,000 emails a day, which is actually, I've just stole your limelight in the next slide, but they get 2,000 emails a day and they can only open something like 10% due to the amount of workload that they've got on top of their emails. So if you're not pitching to the right people, and if you're not pitching actual news that's going to stand out in their inbox, then it's not going to make the journalist's lives easier. It kind of ties all them three kind of points together. So yeah, I thought that was a really good one. Another thing actually that's really useful on pitching as well. I know here in the UK, if you can get your pitch to land in the journalist inbox between 8:30 in the morning or between 2:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then you're doing all right, because I know Reach PLC is kind of our major brand, the Express, Mirror, Sun, all them. They have 2 editorial meetings a day, one at 8:30 and one at 2. It might have changed slightly since we got told this was about a year ago. But that's when I pitch my idea to an editor or a journalist. She sees or he sees or say they like the idea. I'm going to take it to my editor for approval. And that's what that editorial meeting is, where the journalist sits down and says, "This is a really good idea, and it's our idea. What do you think of that?" The editor says yes or no. If it's a yes, then you've got yourself a backlink. So those 8:30 and 2 o'clock-ish meetings are really useful. What I would absolutely avoid doing as well is pitching on the day of a topic, unless it's something you weren't expecting. So like, we know that Ramadan finishes on a certain day a couple of weeks ago. If you're pitching kind of Ramadan recipes on the day it finishes, then you've got absolutely no chance. Make sure it's well in advance, and that'll stand you in good stead. Jack,
Yeah, so how not to pitch an idea, even though you have just stole half of mine, but it's all right, I'll let you off. Just kind of the main thing I think to just stay away from is just the advertorial side, like including promotional wording. So it's like you're doing things to kind of you need to make it seem that you're offering a journalist something useful, some information that they didn't have, that they can't get anywhere else. And it's like, even if you're doing a thing about products, it's not about, I've got this product and it's fantastic, it's amazing, I've got this recipe, it's amazing, you need to include it. It's like, how can this product benefit you? How can it benefit the readers? How can this be healthy for you? How can the recipe be like make you lose weight? Is it like amazing? Is it brand new way of cooking? Something like that, where it's actually offering some kind of a benefit to the readers, rather than just saying this is a product, this is what it does, like includers. Because if you do it that way, they're going to straight away ask you for money to include it, or they'll just completely ignore you, really, which is like one thing I've found. Another thing as well is just, one way to get the emails opened is by using like clickbaity subject lines. But if your email doesn't actually back up what you're saying in the subject line, they're just gonna, that's when you get your snotty emails back. of the journalists, because they're just going to reply saying, well, this is just clickbait. Why are you sending this? It's got absolutely nothing to do with the client you're pitching or kind of the topic you're pitching either. So you need to make sure kind of everything lines up and that the subject lines are matching what the information is that you've got in your email as well.
Yeah, I agree. And Luke's just asked a really good question about reaching out to journalists on social media as opposed to email. Do you recommend doing that for brands? I recommend doing it for anyone. I think Twitter's massive. If you could see my DMs on Twitter, it is inundated. And it's just even sometimes I just message people just saying like, oh, hi, we've got this idea. What do you think? If it's someone that I work with quite a lot. Like Jacko mentioned earlier on in this presentation, is journalists have Twitter on them at all times. You know, it's on the phone. They don't have work emails necessarily on the phone at all times. So chances of getting a reply on there is a lot higher than emailing someone that's getting 2,000 emails a day, because I bet they're not getting 2,000 direct messages a day. And that's the best way to look at it, really. One thing that's quite interesting as well is a public pitch. And this is a little bit, well, it's not blackmail, but if you pitch a journalist a big story to them on Twitter, or even just reply to one of their articles that they wrote saying, "Oh, I've got this awesome idea that I think could tie in really well," they've almost got to be seen to reply to it, because they look a bit nasty if they don't reply and just leave you hanging if you've gotten all the length. So that's a good way. I mean, I had a USA Today one. They published an article. I forgot what it was. It was something to do with Harry Potter, I think. Or it might have been James Bond. One of the something. Anyway, I had an idea about it and I pitched him and he went, "Gee, this sounds really interesting. Would you mind sending it over via DM?" So I did and he loved it. But like, yeah, you can do public or private pitching, I guess. The only thing I'd say is make sure that you have done your research and that type of stuff. But yeah, I think if it's news jacking related, Luke, so if it's you've got an idea that relates to a story they've wrote, I think it's probably better to do it via Twitter. If it's blind pitching and it's just you've come up with a campaign idea and this journalist writes about music and yours is a music idea, then I would just do email. Um, we use an email service provider that kind of allows us to personalize our approach and still do it on mass kind of. It also sets like auto follow-ups for journalists. So if they don't reply, it automatically follows up and says like, "Here, just give nudging this to the top of your inbox in case it's of use." Nothing too forward, but like Jacko mentioned, multiple follow-ups are a massive no-no as well. So try and keep that more minimum.
Yeah, I'll just say like stick to probably one. I'll just do one now. And it's normally like 4 or 5 days after you sent the original pitch. But any more than that, and you just seem to be hounding the journalists, and yeah, that's where you can burn relationships as well. Because especially if it's or if you're sending multiple follow-ups on a topic that isn't relevant to them, and they know it's automatic straight away, and they're just like, well, you're not even putting in the time or the effort to kind of look at the stories I write or who I am. So why would I give you the time or the effort to even read through your pitch?
Yeah, definitely. So there's some pointers on, and you might think, well, what use is that to the journalist relationships? Because if you're pitching the wrong stuff, then your relationships are never going to start. But here's some kind of pros and cons of building relationships. So pros is the much more likely to reach back in the future. You know, those people who I showed you in a couple of slides ago about, you know, they reach out now saying, "Hi, Jake, I'm actually working on this. Have you got an expert who does this, this, this?" That's all came because I built a relationship with them. And how I built that particular one with Robin, I think it is, from Women in Home, is I just responded to a journal request and she needed it for 2 hours time and I got her back within 40 minutes and she published it. She was happy, I'm happy. And she then remembered that for the future. So much more likely to reach back in the future. I'd say most of my links that I get now are kind of recurring, you know, just freelance journalists that they think I'm a trusted source now and they just come to me. We use our 70 odd clients or whatever we've got. They know that they're always likely to get a response by doing that. It's nice to be nice. I think one thing that we've lost over the last few years is kind of that relationship between journalists and PRs. You see a lot of hatred towards each other. You know, PRs shouldn't be doing this, PRs this, and then equally vice versa. You know, it is still nice to be nice, and you know, in this ever-changing world, building relationships and you know, helping each other out is probably a thing of the past, but it needs to be brought back. So that's one, and it can help mitigate bad press. Now, what I mean with this, Me and Jack at our old place, we did a lot of this, and this is online reputation management. Now, this is more PR rather than link building. But when there's some bad press around your brand or your business or whatever it might be, if you've already got a good relationship with a journalist, you can help mitigate that bad press. So one example would be we worked with Northumbria University, who's a massive uni up here in the north. And they had some bad press about there was a fight on college campus, like a big gang fight or something like that. And the Chronicle were going to post it, but they reached out to us first and said, like, do you want to comment on this? Like, do we actually think that this is true and representative of the uni? So they were very much thinking of us before the masses, which was really good. So obviously we went back with a full statement, swept it up, and it was pushed under the carpet because it was nothing. It was nothing to do with the uni, or nothing like that. And then other ones, we worked with a big construction company who released their end of year reports every year. One year during COVID, it was horrendous. Like they were set for a massive loss. Obviously, this isn't just bad PR; it impact investors, like shareholders, all that type of thing, and like a massive knock-on effect. But we went out with an embargoed press release, but the journalist had already got back and said, Jake, we know what the reports are going to look like or do look like. Have you got any comment on it? And we'll try and work around it and make it not seem as bad as that type of stuff. So there's some pros. Jack, or cons?
So the cons, people think of like that it just takes time. Traditionally, they do take time, the relationships, because you have to wine and dine them, take them out, ring them, make sure they're all right, and all that. But I think nowadays you can create relationships a lot quicker. Or you would traditionally, then actually not relationships, the things that you wouldn't class nowadays, the relationships that you've got as relationships, because it's just kind of, we're offering the journalists something, they're just taking it and using it and or reaching back out, and they're just taking things off us, which is great because it's perfect for us and it saves everyone time. But then back in the day, you'd think that it's going to take months to actually build up a relationship with a journalist, because you need to kind of understand what they want, and kind of was more like tailoring to the journalist, whereas now the journalists don't actually have time to go out and do all these things. So it's like you're saving them time by just offering information, offering useful things as well. Another one, this is the one that I like, is journalists don't have time for niceties. So we've seen loads of people, loads of journalists reach out, like go out on Twitter. And to be honest, when we first saw it, absolutely blew our minds, because it was like, it's one thing you do, just sending an email like, oh, hi, how you doing? Like just at the beginning of the email. And they're like, I don't want to say it. I just don't want it. All I want is the information. That's all I want. I don't want you to say, I don't want you to ask how I'm doing, because you don't care anyway.
And on that as well, Jack, I actually know why that's the case, and I found this out a couple of years ago. So, when an email lands in anyone's inbox, you can see the first line as a kind of snapshot so you don't have to click into it. So if you tell them in the first line what your idea is about, then they can get through so many more of that 2,000 emails than they would having to click into each one. So like if every email said, "Hi, I hope you're well, hope you're safe and COVID free," and all that crap that we used to do, then they've got to click into everyone to say they're not missing any nuggets of campaigns going out. But if all 2,000 have like, this is the idea pretty much in the first sentence, they've already seen that. They don't need to click down everyone. And that's actually why. So there's a little piece of info.
Yeah, that's cool. It's just mad to think that no one wants you to like ask how they're doing or anything. Whereas before, when I first started, it was like, you need to say this, because otherwise they'll kick off if you don't ask if they're all right, or they'll just ignore you. It's mad. Well, yeah, and then so just moving on to the last one, just while you're taking your time trying to build relationships, or like say while you're kind of trying to build a relationship, if you try and do it the traditional way, another agency is just going to come in with the email that's just plain with the right information in, and they're going to get the story instead of you. So if you're reaching out to journalists asking how they're doing, kind of finding out everything in between, what they're writing about, everything else, someone else might have just pitched the story at the right time and they've completely taken the limelight off you.
Yeah, I agree. Luke's just asked, is it possible to attend in-person network events with journalists? Don't know anything about that. I think there isn't so many of these now as there potentially used to be. But maybe not networking events is the best way to go. It's probably more like awards in your area, or like, anything where journalists are likely to be there. long gone really are the days of journalist PR meetups just due to time constraints and the way the world's moving. But definitely if you are at, I know I've done this a few times. When I was at the big National Construction Awards, we won Best Construction Campaign of the Year. There was a few journalists there from like key publications. And I was like giving them some extra red wine just to kind of sweeten them up a little bit. But that's probably the best way to network. If you are in a position where you know, you can go to local events and that type of thing, anything where journalists are likely to be, that's probably your best bet. Right, what we got? So, how shall we build relations? So this is kind of similar to what we just actually Mick's just asked the question. Hi Mick, by the way. What if a journalist only writes about one type of niche? So yeah, I mean, it depends if that niche is the niche you're working in, then by all means, really go a little bit more into relationship building with those people. How I would do that if you did want to, I mean, you're not going to be able to wine and dine them anymore. Like I mentioned before, I think the world's gone totally digital. People don't want to go out and socialize. But the best way to do that is to make sure you've had a look at everything they write about. Use a tool called Muck Rack and type their name in, and it'll pull up the last 500 articles. It's free to use up to 200 articles or something. Figure out exactly what they write about and then tailor your work identically to what they do. And let them know you've done that as well. Don't say, look, we've analysed all your articles. We've found that this is the type of way you work, and here's a campaign that we think would be perfect for you. They're going to appreciate that. But like I say, just make sure that you're actually contacting the right people. If you don't have access to one, a major database is super important. The reason being, journalists are moving around a lot more now. It's a lot more volatile in kind of roles than it used to be. You used to have a finance editor that would be a finance editor for 40 years, but now you see people moving that personal finance editor might be fintech now. And then if you don't have a major database that tracks these changes, you're out of date. And then relations can start suffering as a result. So definitely keep track. If you don't have a major database, but you do know that the journalist changed, sometimes journalists reply saying, "Oh, hi Mick, I don't actually work in that team anymore. I've worked on this team covering this. Just update your Excel doc of journalists or whatever it might be, to make sure that you still contact them with the right type of stuff." But yeah, that's that. And how should we build relations? Give them what they want. Simple. Is easy and straight at the point as you can be. And two other ones, share the stories. The Express woman who I mention a lot because she's just so good for like our kind of insight. She told us something really interesting about journalists now, about, they used to be targeted on how many people's viewing the stories or that type of thing. But this new world of social engagement and social media and all that type of thing, journalists actually get targeted a little bit more on social engagement now. So if you're pitching a story to a journalist and so is another agency and it's an identical story, you won't know that the picture, but it's an identical story. Always include that you'll get your brand or yourself or whoever to share the story across social media as well, because that little sweetener might be the difference between that journalist getting commissioned again off that publication because it got X social shares. So definitely share the stories. Look interested in the journalist, and you probably are. It's in your niche. If you can build a relationship through sharing stories and then sliding in the DMs, help out when the niche needs help, then that's the way to go. What's Nick said? Do the digital PR team with you guys write all the content, do the emailing to journalists? Yeah, we do. So we like to work a little bit different, making the term in the way that we don't actually create content as such. So what we would do is, I don't know, what day is it, Jack, or what day of the year? Oh well, it's hot here in England today. There you go. So we might quickly pull some search data or quickly launch a survey aimed at ginger people in the UK and are they likely to sunburn the most or something like that. It could be anything on data, but we basically just summarise that data in a little press release. One I launched this morning was I seen a bit uproar about these new pizza ovens, about them being so expensive to have in the house. But I actually did some digging, and the average person goes out and eats 15 pizzas a year. Um, with friends. So 15 pizzas at the cost to see 15 quid. That's like what, 100 quid or something. Whereas at Uni Pizza Oven's only 200. So actually, when you put it alongside each other, it actually works out all right to have a pizza oven. So I did a full story on that based on that topic. But it's not so much a content piece that a journalist will cover. It's more data that's going to help them write the story or expert, which we've so I did one the other week on the credits band going bust and got that everywhere. But yeah, we if we were writing content to set on site and then launch the hooks from that, then we'd include content as well. Jato?
Yeah, so being personable, just it's kind of just feeling like, how would you want to be contacted if you were a journalist? You kind of got to put yourself in their shoes. So you don't want to be hounded all the time. Like, not everyone's got the time. See, that's why we say kind of send one follow-up, because if you're sending 5 or 6, they might have seen it the first time and just haven't got round to getting back to you, because they get that many emails a day and they have to do so many stories a day as well. So they might have something scheduled for 2 weeks' time. If you're sending 5 or 6 follow-ups in that same time frame, they're just going to think, what on earth are you doing? I'm not going to cover this, just because of the fact that you've been absolutely hounding them. So I think just sending one follow-up is like the best way, because journalists, really, if they sat there and they're seeing you've just emailed them loads, they're going to be like, this can't surely be the same story. And like, as I said before, they haven't got the time to just go back and reply to every email. So it's quite a few times now where I've launched a campaign and it's gone live 2 weeks later, but they haven't even told us either. So you have to like actively go and search for your own campaign or what you've outreached, just to see if it has gone live. That's what happened with Forbes Link the other day. Went live and then I didn't get told by the journalist whether it was going live or not. And imagine if I'd then emailed him 5 or 6 times asking if he was using it or not. He's like, I've already used it. Why aren't you looking? Do you know, like, it's that type of thing where in future he probably wouldn't take anything off us, because I've just hounded him and ruined that relationship straight away, because they've got no time on their hands to kind of be chasing you up and making sure that you're all right. You need to be just actively looking and doing for things. I think that moves up, like, don't ask for too much as well. So it's like, it's just, you've got to kind of gauge how much you can take, really, or how much you want to ask for. Because it is hard with some journalists. Some journalists, really, they're happy to just have an email chat with you, but then loads just like, all they want is the information. They want that original pitch, and that is all they want. They don't want anything extra. And if you're asking for like kind of, oh, can you let me know when you're putting it live? Can you let me know when you've read it? Can you let me know when you send it to the editor? That's when you're asking the wrong questions there. And it's just, that's the ones that puts them off, really. And then they're just going to end up with a black mark next to your name.
Yeah, and Mick's just kind of touched on what you just mentioned there. Now, do journalists not always tell you when they post the story? Mick, I'm not joking. I think 99% of the links we build, we're not told about. The only time you are kind of told is maybe a couple of weeks later if it's a relationship built with a journalist. So like that Robin Morris, who I talk to all the time, she'll reach back out 2 weeks' time with a new one and say, oh, actually, Jake, we did post them ones you covered a couple of weeks ago. But it's very rare, very rare. The only time they would post it is if they want some kind of financial advertising thing in place with the brand that you represent, and be like, oh, we'll post your article. Do you want to pay us for the next one? On a Jack, or do you think 99%? Because I definitely do.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, without a doubt, I'd agree with that. I find that I have to look for most of my placements and things rather than them telling us.
Yeah. Have you done the connect one on socials? Because I just think this is important as well. I think
Yeah, really, really important, connecting on the socials. I mean, if they can see you, where if you've emailed them a good pitch and they've read it and they're happy with it, and they're going to like use it, maybe, or see if they have used one of your bits of information you've sent over, say if it's expert commentary or data, and then you thank them over email, then follow them on Twitter, start interacting with their posts. You know, in future they're going to keep seeing your name, and it's just going to keep you have that. They've got that like constant reminder that you're there and that you've offered them something good in the past, so you probably will do it again.
Yeah, totally agree. And connecting on socials, like I mentioned in the last live stream, varies per country. You know, you'll see a lot more US journalists on LinkedIn rather than Twitter, but definitely worth connecting. If you can get them on LinkedIn, even better. And like in my case with a few journalists, if you can get them on WhatsApp, then you've cracked it. Be patient. So yeah, like we mentioned, I've been talking about this throughout, and I think it's only getting worse. Journalists are getting busier, jobs are getting cut, publications are getting shut down. They're getting over 2,000 emails a day. That is going up because there's a lot more digital PR happening around the world now as there was 10 years ago. If you're not standing out or not helping a journalist with what you're pitching, then you might as well pack in. That's the be all and end all. You might have to chase the link because so busy. Sorry. But that's fine. One thing I like to do is include like the first time you reply to see a journalist, see it, please include a link as a source. So you've got it in writing at the start. But honestly, they're under so much pressure, journalists now, as a PRs effectively, but just be very personable with them and patient. I think that's key. Make sure you're helping them and you're helping their audience. I think two things to look at: am I helping the journalist, and is this story of news to Mrs. Wilson in Wigan, who's 59-year-old and she reads the news every day? Does she want to be told about your brand that she couldn't really care less about, or does she want to know a new hack on feeling better herself? It's easy ways to look at it. So yeah, definitely. And last bit is just if there's any questions. But I think journalist relationships are going to be getting even more frantically fast paced as we. I mean, I imagine in a couple of years' time in social media, they'll want things turned around within 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just going to be the timing, really. Like, it's just going to be if you can offer the person who can offer the journalist the thing they want the quickest is going to be the one who's going to be standing in good stead. Like, they're going to be the ones who are going to be the winners at the end of it. Because if you turn around and you're taking half a day to reply and another half a day to get the expert comment back, that's too long from the timelines they work on at the minute. So that's only going to get shorter.
One other thing as well, don't offer something that you're not. So if you are an agency or you are working on behalf of someone else, don't reach out to a journalist and say, "Oh yeah, I can definitely help with this." So the journalist cancels all the other sources, sends over to you all your questions, and then you turn around a couple hours later saying, "Actually, the brand or the person or the business doesn't want to know, doesn't want to get involved." That will burn your relationships as fast as you built them, faster than you built them. It's probably a journalist's biggest gripe. One other thing as well is using ChatGPT a lot. So it's a grey area in PR and journalism and all that and everything at the minute. ChatGPT. What I would say is we use it sometimes to help come up with how a subject line should look, but by no means really should it be you creating comments or using ChatGPT. And the reason for that is journalists need to be able to attribute a direct person and it needs to be legit. By all means, ChatGPT can help write the base of a comment if you tap for time, but you need to make sure if it's legit because ChatGPT spits out a lot of rubbish as well. You don't want to set someone's house on fire, tell them a bacon hack. You want to make sure it's legit. So definitely be careful about that. And journalists are actually running some pictures through AI content detectors at the minute. So again, just be transparent with journalists, and they'll be transparent back. I think that's the key thing. But yeah, definitely just to cap off, journalist relationships. Long gone are the days of wine and dining, and the days are here of just giving them good stuff to make their life easier and being in their social channels a lot more than you would have. So if you don't have Twitter accounts set up, it's definitely worth it. But I think that's it. Lois, we'll hand it all over to you in your capable hands.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so we have 2 age domains as normal today, guys. I got a brand new spanking presentation for you. There has been done by our lovely graphic designer for our Make Lemonade launch. So the first one today we have Fusion Brewery. So as the domain name might give away, is in the beer brewing niche. It is 6 years old, has 59 referring domains, and is a DR17. So this was created back in 2018 to actually promote and advertise the physical Fusion Brewery that was based in Lexington, Kentucky. They really just wanted to provide a nice, comfortable, fun vibe for the community and for them to also really get involved with beer brewing, any home brews, all that type of fun stuff. So this is what it looked like when the site was live. As you can see here, got their own beer brewing imagery, has exactly where the map is, all stuff like that. So just your basic website, just to really promote a physical space. So backlink profile, as I mentioned, 59 referring domains. Some really nice ones, not that many, but really nice authoritative ones. We've got untapped.com, ediblecommunities.com, greatamericanbeerfestival.com, really nice one to be having, especially because it's obviously within the beer brewing niche. kentuckytourism.com, another really nice one, as it was based in Kentucky. worldbeercup.org and portstringer.com. So really nice, niche relevant and authoritative backlinks for this one. Again, with the anchor text, what we like to do when we have our H domains, we like to see if there's branding right at the top. As you can see here, Fusion Brewing right at the top here, exactly what we like to see. There isn't any evidence of any hacking or anything like that, anything dodgy or whatever going on. We have some really nice anchor text here. We've got our branding, and then just further down, just some naked anchor text, which just leads into the homepage or other pages within the site. Again, our best by links, only 3 of these, very basic site. As you can see here, the majority of the referring domains are going to the homepage. Exactly what we like to see. That's exactly the type of link building and stuff that we aim to look at. Just go into the homepage, really helps build the authority of the site, and that's exactly what we look for. So our strategy with this one, really simple. Obviously keeping it within the beer brewing, home brewing, all that type of stuff. So we'll have your home brewing beer, your tips, all stuff like that. What food pairs well with beer, really nice. A couple of articles you could do with that one. Informational articles on beer types, the ingredients, all different types of stuff like that. And then onto listicle types of content around breweries in different cities, best breweries in Chicago, best breweries in Kentucky, all that type of different stuff that we will be covering within this one. So our competitors today, so the first one we have beveragebeaver.com, DR 1.8 with 10.5k of organic traffic. The DR is really low, but that ratio to the organic amount of traffic really is quite nice. So they are doing really well considering they are only a DR 1.8, has 202 pages. So we really look at this as potentially a tomb raiding opportunity. If you guys don't really know what tomb raiding is, Adam covered this quite a while ago on the stream. But it's just a way that, just a technique that we use just to really go in, see the type of content and keywords and stuff our competitors using, and potentially then using it for our own articles and just making them better effectively. And then we have our nice big ones. We have craftbeer.com, DR75. So this one has 323k of organic monthly traffic. So from one end of the spectrum to the other, this is a really good example of the type of success you can get within this niche. You can really aim to get that high organic monthly traffic. So what makes these competitors stand out? Own imagery. We say this every week, really important now, especially with all these AI detectors and stuff, AI imagery and things. Google's really going to flag that at the moment. Your subscription prompt, so as soon as you go onto the site, if there's a newsletter prompt coming right at you, where you can fill in your email, you can get like a weekly newsletter, some sort of discount or anything like that really promotes nice type of subscription is really handy. Frequent content. These competitors that we look at, they are constantly uploading different content, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, always different types of content being uploaded to these sites. And especially with these ones, they actually do have some educational programs. And what I mean by that is they have their own beer brewing techniques. They have their own beer brewing schools. You can actually physically go and do all of this. So obviously, you can actually take that digitally. You can put out your own courses, all different stuff like that. So a really nice, effective way to just stand out. And then the revenue opportunities from this niche, again, as I mentioned, beer brewing, you have your craftbeer.com. That's exactly the type of traffic and stuff that we really want to aim with this age domain. And with any of our age domain aims, we really like to show the competitors that have a low DR but really high traffic, and then we like to show our big ones just to really show the actual opportunities available within these niches. These really are you really can get to these levels within these age domains, if you really do have the correct content strategy, obviously the right keyword research, just keeping on top of all those things, really helpful. So really the end aim is to not be relying on Google as much. So that means diversifying your income, diversifying your traffic. How do you do that? You can do that with your display ads, your affiliate programs, newsletters, your own courses, your own products. This niche is actually really good to get into if you really want to go down that road. You can really promote your own beer brewing techniques, your own beer brewing products, the type of gear that you use for your beer brewing. Lots and lots of stuff available for you. And then obviously then you go onto your traffic. So you have your socials, really important to be creating socials and linking those throughout your site. Your emails, obviously you have your newsletters, subscriptions, really nice way to diversify that. And then you have EAT optimization. We talk about EAT every single week. We have it really important to be optimizing that. You've got your frequent content and of course your link building, whether that is digital PR, your standard link building, anything like that. That can really help your domain rating get higher and the amount of traffic as well. So onto the second domain, very different. So this is called Vintage Knits. Is in the crafts niche, is really old domain, really nice, 23 years old, 282 referring domains and a DR16. So it was created back in 2001 to help its readers with all their knitting needs. They had guides, samples, variety of information just to really help anyone that had their knitting hobbies, different yarns and stuff that they could be using for different techniques, different stitching, all that type of stuff. So again, this is what the site looked like. As I mentioned, really old site, but had a lot of information on there. This was the homepage. As you see, really basic, but had a lot of nice information behind that. So backlink profile, as I mentioned, 282 referring domains. Really nice again. So we have the sprucecrafts.com, huge site within the craft space. That's awesome to be having. Nitty.com, again, is about knitting. It's about all those needle crafts and stuff. So really nice niche authoritative domain. Then you have your knitters reviews and crafts from thecutch.co.uk, which I'm pretty sure might be made by a Welsh person because it has the word Cutch in it. So I had to put this in because if it is made by a Welsh person, then clearly it's a very good backlink profile to be having. And then we have our anchor text again. Really nice one. As you see at the top here, you have your vintage knits, exactly what we like to see, branded top and center, and then you just have just your keyword anchor text profiles. Really nothing to be worrying about. Look completely natural within the site. And then we have our best by links again. Right at the top here, as you can see, the majority of the referring domains are linking to the homepage, most powerful page on the site. Makes sense to be linking to that. Then you have a couple of different pages, other pages within the site that have some really nice referring domains too. So potentially look at recreating these, redirecting these in the future. So again, our strategy, again, really simple, keeping it obviously within the crafts niche, specifically within needle crafts. The craft niche is absolutely huge, so you can go down loads of different roads with this. But sticking with knitting, crocheting, all that type of stuff, really helps the authority and the trust behind this age domain, as it was really focused on knitting and all that stuff. So we have our type of knitting techniques, your basic knitting, your stitching technique guides, content around all different types of patterns, informational articles on crafting, different types of crafts, different types of needle crafts, all that type of stuff. You got your how-to guide, your step-by-step guide, step-by-step guide to knitting, beginner's guide to knitting, all that stuff. And then you have your listicles. Again, listicles are really, really powerful to be using within your site. Definitely have them within your content strategy if you can. So you have 10 scarf ideas you can knit. You can knit absolutely everything pretty much. So 10, I don't know, jumpers you can knit, 10 cardigans you can knit. So lots of stuff to be going through on here. And then our competitors. So the first one today, we've got knittingknowledge.com. Again, exactly within the space that we will be launching this site in. DR11, 39.4k of organic monthly traffic, 56 pages. So again, really, really nice one to be looking at for tomb raiding. It is a lower DR than us, has a pretty decent amount of organic monthly traffic going in, and is covering the exact same type of content that we will be. And then we have our big one, sarahmaker.com, DR61, 1.2 million of organic monthly traffic per month, 321 pages. So again, exactly in the space that we will be launching this site in. Incredible amount of organic monthly traffic every month. Only 321 pages. So these pages are really, really optimized. She's got she's got her socials linked, she's got her subscription, she has her community and her, loyal readers go into this site every single week. Look at what she's doing. So really, really nice example of the success you can achieve within this space. So again, what makes these competitors stand out? Again, they use their own imagery. Really important when it's especially within the crafts niche. A lot of these articles really do need some sort of visual representation of the type of stuff they're talking about. You have your stitching or your different techniques and stuff. Really, really nice to have some imagery, especially if you can do your own included with that. Obviously, your social media accounts linked to the site, really, really important. Just really one way to get your Google Eat optimized. Really, really nice to have on each site. Your frequent content. So these guys were specifically uploading weekly. They've got their newsletters, subscription opportunities, especially within the craft space. It's really, really important to sort of create some sense of community. There's always these type of audiences are always looking for something to do, some type of technique to try, lots of different stuff that they can just do at home. So really, really nice to see these competitors are doing exactly that. And then again, revenue opportunities, as I mentioned, I think there's no secret to know that the craft niche is absolutely huge. Probably one of the most competitive niches you can actually go into. But again, so much you can cover, and especially within the or the knitting, the needle crafts, or stuff like that. Really, really nice opportunities for revenue and growth. Again, aim of the game, not relying on Google. So diversifying your income, diversifying your traffic. Again, really, really nice niche. You can get into doing that pretty easily. Obviously, you have your display adverts, your affiliate programs, your newsletters and stuff, your own courses, your own products. But again, even just having your own courses and stuff when it comes to knitting, you really, really can just do that. Your own products, what type of needles do you use? What type of yarn do you use? Where do you get it from? All that type of stuff. So that can really, really help diversify your revenue opportunities. Again, EAT optimization, really, really, really important at the moment. Really getting that frequent content uploaded weekly, monthly, either or is awesome. And then you have your link building as well. So really, really nice opportunities to use. And if you really do have a good content strategy, you're following, you're uploading often, you've got your link building, you really are trying to create community wherever within this space, then you can definitely see some success. Thanks. Oh, I have a question. Thank you. On average, how many age range do you think you do? Oh, God. In the thousands, Luke. In the thousands, definitely. Yeah. A Monday and a Tuesday, I spend vetting our age domains. So that's finding the domains for our customers and stuff. And there are over like 200 pages I have to go through. So a lot. And some of them, just obviously, 99.9% of them are probably just dodgy or spam or something, but that 1% I find makes it worth it, I will say.
That beer one was really cool. It was. I think we've got a beer client, and it just seems to fly. It's like the new thing as well, isn't it?
It is,
Like
yeah.
like
It
this,
is.
like we've got a micro pub chat. What took you to it? Haven't I? Literally,
Yeah.
it's literally at the top of my street. It's won all kinds of awards, and they do all this mad beer. Like it's not normal
Nice.
beer. Like Jack, remember that green pint I had?
I was just about to say, do you remember that green pint?
What was that?
It was
So it was a
horrible. It
Halloween
was proper
special.
sour, wasn't
It
it?
was like yeah, it was a sour. It was a sour beer. And it was like it was called something slime. And it was
Oh,
just bright green, and it was really weird but lovely. But yeah, that's to be the new thing. It's like
yeah. It's like this.
the new,
Yeah,
the new thing that the hipsters are latching onto. It was smashed avocado. Now it's now it's this. Luke's asking another
definitely.
question.
Oh,
I feel like Luke's trying to catch us out here.
ooh. What's your favorite, most random niche?
Sleep, 100%.
Oh, that's a nice one. But the thing, like
So easy.
everything is a niche, isn't it? So it's so hard.
Yeah, sleep's
Uh,
just so easy from a digital PR perspective. Everyone wants
mm,
to know about sleep tips, especially with the current issues in the world.
yeah, I do like the book niche. I think that's really, really cool. I think that's sort of come out of the woodwork now about like we have one client that his site is doing
Mm.
amazing, amazing, and
Unbelievable.
he's in, yeah. So yeah, I love that, and I love reading about books and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely,
That's like I will not steal Adam's thunder, but that specific site that we're talking about is insane.
it's
But that like
amazing.
shows when like the slides you put together loads about having everything aligned. Like there's probably 5 or 6 teams working on that in
Yeah,
silo, and it shows that if you've got everything working, like
yeah.
that is. I've never seen growth like that in my life. If
No,
it was a
it's
mountain, you'd
awesome.
fall straight off.
You would. You actually would, yeah. And it's just so nice to see, obviously, because it was such a huge project and so many people involved and stuff. So to actually see it hit the ground sprinting, one run, it was like Usain Bolt just sprinting, and it's just like insane, insane. It's really, really awesome.
Now, which one do you like?
Niches at the minute, just like healthy drinks, honestly.
Oh,
Like all these mad ginger shots and stuff. Honestly, like the all over Twitter journalists absolutely love them at the minute. It's mad.
they're all over TikTok and stuff, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah.
Like people trying different shots and stuff and things. Yeah.
Because loads on TikTok have been like killing people in that.
What?
There is. There's like
That's the
massive,
TikToks I don't see.
there's like massive trend. It's
Yeah.
like, it was like in America, I think they were like getting them to make and they put some mad stuff. It was like kids and there was loads of people dying from it. Like crazy.
Jesus.
Well,
Wow.
I think if I had like a healthy like ginger turmeric shot, because it's so different to probably the normal types of drinks that I have, I think I would die as well. It
It'll
makes
have to
such a
try and
change.
break down all the kebabs as well.
Oh God. Right. Anyway, we're on 32 likes. Can we have 3 more likes? Now,
Oh,
I have never
three.
done a giveaway, so I don't even know how to do it.
Oh
Even if I
God,
were to
yeah.
get the 35,
I
but
don't
I'm gonna
either.
put it on anyway. I'll remove his thing. The 35
Oh
likes
my
is a
God.
giveaway, but it's
So
not any giveaway. It's
close.
a Make Lemonade merch giveaway. I feel
I know.
like one of them fellas at the fairground trying to sell his Daft Aftershave, you know?
I haven't even had any Make Lemonade merch yet, so I might
No.
comment. I might like. I'll like it now.
Luke, you need to help us if we're going to do a giveaway because I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah. You need to get some more people to like. Please like.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're this close. I think was it last week I was on with Adam and Mark and no. I said some week. They all blur into one, these live streams, honestly.
One
And
more
someone
like.
won. Oh, come
Oh
on.
my God. But hey, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cancel. Right, thanks everyone for getting the 34 likes and just call it a day. Luke, it's all well and good you telling us that we've got 34, but I don't even know how to do it. Oh, we've got 35. Ian swooped in with the decisive like. Right, thank you everyone. Luke,
Chris,
you're
how
gonna
do we
need
do
to help me, mate. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I think Mark is the only guy who knows how to do this. Oh, 36 now. Woo!
Oh, hang on. What's this then? I've been given a wheel of names.
Oh, exciting.
And, hang on. I've got it. I know how to do it, but I don't know how this is gonna go. So apologies, everyone. Is that? Oh God. All right. We have got enough for a giveaway, so Luke's gonna send me the names.
All
But
I
if
can see in
everyone
the
could
comments is
comment-
just lemons.
If everyone could comment their name, Luke has been nominated to pull them all together and put them in and send them to me. So I can put them in my wheel.
Oh,
So
this is
in fact,
hilarious.
you know what? We should put our own names in here as well. Because we're the ones that sat and
Yeah.
ran through an hour's live presentation. You better remember that.
Yeah.
Hang on.
It's all happening behind the scenes, guys. We're getting you merch.
Yeah. It looks wicked as well. Look at Brian. Brian wins every week. Don't let Brian enter. Brian wins every week.
It was his birthday the other day, though.
Give it to Bri. Bri's won.
Yeah.
Top man.
He got my vote.
Right. Well, Luke, you better be gathering these names, mate. What time do you fly, by the way, Lois? Tomorrow?
No, I fly Saturday morning. So I'm driving down. She lives in Guildford, my friend does. So staying with her. And then, yeah. I know. That's what happens when you go to uni like 3 hours away from where you live. You have to drive all over the place to see your friends. But yeah, it'll be good. I'm excited.
Right. I have got a list of names. And they're going into the wheel now, whether you like it or not. Hang on. Jake looking slack. Emily, I've got you as well. I'll add you in. Right, I'm running it now. Hang on. I'm gonna
last entries, guys.
I'm gonna Rachel. I've got Rachel in. Hang on. I do now. Right. Yes, I am Luke. Right, here we go. Hang on. We are here. These names.
Woo!
Right, what do I do next? Do I just spin it?
Yeah, click the spin and then it'll do it.
Right. Here we go. It's good.
If one of us have it.
Oh no! How is this happening?
Oh, Nicola was so close.
How is this? Oh,
It's
I
rigged.
give up.
It's rigged.
This is fixed. And Jacko, I tell you what, I want that merch.
You guys can share it.
And I had to hold the fort.
You guys will have to share it.
Yeah, it is a fix, Ian. It is a fix. Right, anyway, we'll let you all crack on.
There's going to be hell on now. I can't believe this.
There'll be hell on. I hope you have a class weekend and Lois bring back plenty pics. Actually, it'll probably be not right for a workplace.
Yeah, I'll have to try and get
some
I'll force some suitable ones, but yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you later, everyone. If anyone needs anything or got any questions, feel free to reach out.